The Dragon Knight is a really fun modded class that has just come to Baldur's Gate 3. Get it on console as well, as I am playing. And this is the Flame Dragonknight build, so let's dip into it. Now, you get to pick 2 cantrips when you start, and for me, Firebolt is a must-have. We're also going to take, not that one, Produce Flame. Really tying into that theme. Got a nice little way of having like this little Produce Flame you can throw around. And then we've also got a damage dealing cantrip in Firebolt. Now you will notice that our spell casting modifier is Charisma, and if we come all the way down here and come to our proficiencies, you see we have proficiencies with spikes, halberds, pikes, glaives, light armor, and shields. As we go through the build, we will get more stuff, but for our spells at this point, we are going to take Searing Smite, concentration-based spell for extra fire damage, and we're going to take Shield. Now if you are respecking, this build is very much a respec build, so once you get to level 12 at the end of the game, respec into this based on the equipment. If you're not, I will show you what you're going to do, but for now, from here, we get to pick our Draconic Heritage. This is basically just scales on your face, and as you can see, no mechanical impacts, just bitching good looks and tasty flavour. So pick whatever you want, let's just go white I guess. And the Flame Knight subclass. This gives you 2 hot, 2 handle. Attempts to physically restrain you often fail as you quickly burn the restraints away. You are immune to non-magical ensnared effects. You've got Firebolt as a cantrip, so again you could come back and switch out Firebolt. Forgot you got that, to be honest, so yeah, I would, if we just come back a little bit. As your cantrip, it would see automatically would take it. Instead of doing resistance, I'd probably do like Shocking Grasp, maybe even a Sacred Flame. And then come back in here, take your Firebolt. And we get Burning Hands as a spell, so each flammable target is hit with 3 to 18 fire damage. Now when it comes to ability points, you're going to want something like this. 16 strength, 12 dexterity. Okay, when it comes to ability points, you want something akin to this. 16 strength, 10 dexterity, 13 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma. Charisma being your spellcasting modifier. If you're respecking into this using the equipment I'm using, you can bump your strength all the way down, put it into your dex, for example. So if we make our strength 8, put our dex all the way up to, say, 16, you can bump your constitution up to 14. So 8 strength, 16 dex, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma. Why are we doing this? We're using the gauntlets of Hill Giant strength, so our gauntlets are giving us 23 strength. You could also do this build from the start of the game and use a dex-based weapon, or use your strength potions. Choice is really yours. I'm going to play this like you are either using strength potions from the start, or the gauntlets. So I'm going to stick with this ability points, but when we come to each feat, I will just give you options depending on if you're just playing from the start with the 16 strength. For your proficiencies, take whatever you feel like. And that brings us to our Dragon Knight level 2, which gives us some more spells and a passive. So when it comes to your spells, the next one we're going to take is Hellish Rebuke. Nice reactionary spell to give you fire damage. And we get a Draconic Talent. So the 2 I think are really good are Dragon Sight. You can see normally in darkness, both magical and non-magical, to a distance of 24 meters, or the Vigor of Tiamat. I'll be taking the Vigor of Tiamat and just giving myself extra hit points without expending a spell slot. The Dragon Knight level 3 Chromatic Infusion. You infuse the melee weapon you're holding with the power of your elements. The weapon gains a +1 bonus to attack rolls and deals an additional 1 to 4 fire damage, and this lasts until long rest. We get one more spell, and for this one I would probably take something like Inflict Wounds. You can even take Ice Knife if you want to. Chromatic Orb is also another option, so this is what I'll be taking. And we get a fighting style, and as you can see we are using a giant 2-handed sword, so we're going to take Great Weapon Fighting. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for an attack with a 2-handed melee weapon, that die is re-rolled once. The Dragon Knight level 4 brings you a new feat. Now at this point we are going to end up taking a spell like Inflict Wounds or Ice Knife. And for your feat, we are going to take the ability score improvement. Now if you are playing from the start of the game with the 16 strength, bumped up to 18. If you're playing with this one, we're going to bump our charisma up to 18 for our spellcasting. The Dragon Knight level 5 brings you an extra attack, and Heat Metal. So cause a metal weapon or armor to glow red hot and force the wearer to let go or receive disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. An awesome way of just getting enemies to drop their swords. We get more spells at this point. The first one we're going to take is Spiritual Weapon. Nothing wrong with having a nice little summon as a bonus action. Dragon Knight level 6 gives you Chromatic Resistance. So the blood of ancient dragons flows through your veins. You're resistant to fire damage. We get another spell, so we're going to take Scorching Ray, hurl 3 rays of fire. Each ray deals 2 to 12 fire damage. Dragon Knight level 7, Aura of Chromatic Fury. You deal 4 fire damage to any enemies who end their turn within 3 meters. Meaning if you're frontlining and you're tagging and you're aggroing, then triggering this as your bonus action, dealing that huge fire damage. We get one more spell, so let's take Ray of Frost for this one. And we get one more spell, so we're going to take the Flaming Sphere. The Dragon Knight level 8, another new feat. And for this one, we are going to take Ensnaring Strike as your spell, bringing us to our ability score improvement. And again, if you've got 18 strength, up to 20, we're going to take Charisma up to 20. Dragon Knight level 9, Fireball. Need I say any more? It's Fireball. We get one more spell for this one. We're going to take the Glyph of Warding. I've talked about this a lot, one of my favourite spells in the game. You place it down, enemy walks into it, and it will trigger with one of these selected effects. I like using it as a bomb though. You place it down on your turn on top of a load of enemies, and because you end your turn and enemies are within it, it will trigger, exploding all of them. Dragon Knight level 10 gives you your next feat. Now, with this one, we have more spells first, so we are going to take Lightning Bolt. And when it comes to this, if you have your 20 strength, you're going to leave it there. We're going to take Great Weapon Master. When you land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee weapon attack, you can make another melee weapon attack as a bonus action that turn. Attacks with melee weapons you're proficient with and are wielding in both hands can deal an additional 10 damage at the cost of a -5 attack roll penalty. The Dragon Knight level 11 gives you another new spell. Now before that we do have more abilities to choose from, and I would personally take something like the Armour of Agility. Get this going with a long rest and it's awesome. And then our final level, level 12, we get another feat, and at this point we are going to take Savage Attacker. When making melee weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. Okay, when it comes to our equipment, we are going to be using the Helldusk armor set. So, Infernal Sight, you get to see magical and ordinary darkness up to a range of 12 meters and cannot be blinded. We get Immobilizing Gaze, we cannot be critically hit, and we get magical durability, meaning we have a +2 bonus to saving throws against spells. For a cloak, we are going to take the Flesh Melter Cloak. You could also use the cloak that gives you burning if you want to really stick with the theme. For boots, we're going to take the Boots of Genial Striding to make sure we're unimpeded by difficult terrain. For armour, the Helldusk armour, consider proficient with it while wearing it. We get Infernal Retribution, so when you succeed a saving throw, the caster receives burning for 3 turns. We get the chance to cast Fly, and we get Prime Aegis of Fire, have resistance to fire damage and cannot be burned, and 3 less damage from all sources. For gloves, the Gauntlets of the Hill Giant set the wearer's strength to 23, hence why we respect to have our strength at 8. We're going to take the Ring of Regeneration to heal 1 to 4 hit points at the start of our turn. The Killer's Sweetheart, so when you kill a creature, your next attack will be a critical hit once per long rest. This pairs very nicely with the Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet, which means once per long rest, when you score a critical hit on a humanoid, you can paralyze the target for 2 turns. Works really well in boss fights. And then for a weapon, probably my favourite sword in the game, the Sword of Chaos. 2d6 plus 8 slashing damage, we get a 1d4 necrotic damage as well, and every hit we regain 1 to 6 hit points. So that is the Flame Dragonknight build. Let's go check it out. Okay, so we've just left camp. A few things we need to do. So the first thing is we need to come in here with our False Life. Get those 7 temporary hit points. No spell slot used. And the second thing we need to do is we need to come into here and we need to take our Chromatic Infusion. Again, this lasts until long rest. And now if we come to our sword, you will see we have currently got 12 to 30 damage now as we get to roll a 1d6 of fire damage. And the next thing to do is to come in here with an Armour of Agility. We'll do it at 2nd level. And there you go. Now this will remove your Armour of Agility. Also your False Life, so just bear that in mind. You can only use one or the other. I would suggest using False Life first, and then using Armour of Agility afterwards. But just as a demonstration, I just showed you. Okay, you can see we are in the combat now, and we are kind of midway down the turn order, which is okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. With our first ability, we are going to cast our Spiritual Weapon. We'll take a nice little Great Axe, and we'll send it here. And there we go, we now have an extra summon on the battlefield. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start slashing so you can see the damage output we have. So you can see we're doing necrotic, normal and fire, and overall some pretty decent stuff going here. Took out 70 hit points in one round. It's now a spiritual weapon, so again you can come in here and start dealing some damage. Nice little solid 10 force damage. Okay, now it's our turn again, and we have more bonus actions we can use. So we're going to do our Aura of Chromatic Fury. This will mean any enemies within meters of us when we end our turn will take some fire damage. What we can also do is show off our melee capabilities with a massive kill there. Now this means we get a guaranteed critical hit, so what we're going to do is we're going to target the enemy here. Turn on Executioner, thanks to the Killer Sweetheart. You see, we did a huge amount of damage, and thanks to our amulet, we can paralyze the enemy. And if we didn't use our bonus action to do our flame, what this would mean is, as a bonus action, we could have done our Great Weapon Master bonus attack, because we killed the first enemy. And again, you can send your spiritual weapon wherever you need to, so we can send him flying up there if we wanted to. What we're going to do is we're just going to come and fight this enemy here. Just like that. You see the enemy there was paralyzed. Okay, you will see we are in here. They obviously took more fire damage because they're within our thing. What we're going to do is show off our spellcasting capabilities. And obviously we have a bunch we can do here. But, once again, our Glyph of Warding. Now I'm going to place this down as a fire spell. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. Now, mostly, you'd place this down and then an enemy would walk into it. They'll take the fire damage. If I place this here, there you go, you see at the end of my turn it triggered, therefore killing them. Or not killing them, but you know what I mean. Now, what I'm going to do is come back up here to make sure we're within melee range so they take their damage. And we'll do a nice little pommel strike, just using our bonus action. And we've got another critical hit, which should mean on their next turn they will die because of our aura. You can see this enemy is currently unconscious, which means we can start focusing on this one. What it also means is that we have a bunch of items here. So for example, we could do Burning Hands. If we do it at, say, first level, now you'll see the range isn't too bad. We're going to try and avoid getting the ladder. There we go. And there you go. See, we only do 9 damage. So spellcasting, there's a few decent options, but again, still a lot of stuff to be wanted. You'll see we're taking damage, but so are they. And they just died thanks to the acid. And of course our spiritual weapon is still up here, dealing damage to this enemy. And we have capabilities. So we're going to come up here and we're going to target, hopefully getting up here with our bonus action. Now I blocked off the ladder on purpose, so we are going to use our fly capabilities to come all the way up here, ready to fight. And as you can see, we've got enemies everywhere, so what we are going to do is a Scorching Ray. We'll do this at second level. We'll target like this. And there you go, you can see we have a lot of capabilities. So if you can't get into melee range, you still have the capability of dealing damage while you catch up to people or while you wait people to get to you. And then once you're in melee range, you can tank as so well. And of course, what is any fire build without dropping a fireball? Now bear in mind they are a rogue, so they take less damage, but you get the gist. And then what we can do is, because we have such good strength, we can try shoving enemies away from their high spots, just like that. Meaning they're all lined up that we can come in here and we can start hitting them as hard as possible with our weapon attacks. And of course, since we broke the ladder, obviously having the capability to fly means we don't have to take full damage, and we can come straight back in with some massive attacks, just like that. So that is the Flame Dragonknight build for Baldur's Gate 3. It's a super fun mod. There's so many different subclasses as well. So really would recommend going and check it out. I'll be doing builds for every single subclass, so make sure you check those out too. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, please drop the episode a like. It helps me tremendously. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more as well. I've got more Baldur's Gate guys, I've got Dragon Age the Veilguard guys, I've got guys for Path of Exile 2, Let's Plays, all of the above and more.
I'm going to be streaming God of War, Ragnarok, because that game is incredible as well. So if you want to come out on the stream, it'd be awesome to see you there. Regardless, I generally do hope you have enjoyed this, and if you have, hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.